Excuse me. Okay, I hope you guys are set. Good evening to those that are here already. I hope you guys are set for the class. Or the rain is taking the best of you. Okay, good evening, Vivian. Agbola Oludayo, you are welcome. Okay, since some people are here, I think we should start. We don't have time because we have two classes tonight that we need to do between the hour of 9 to 10. And also have another class with, excuse me, with 100 level students. That is first semester students by 10. Lagos State, you are welcome. Excuse me, what's wrong with my voice these days? I think I'm catching cold also. Now, this is MAC116, one of the most interesting course in this your second semester. I know you've been enjoying, your time with this course. The course has been always interesting. We've talked about naming different things and different reasons why people name the type of names they name. Today we are going into the unit 2 of the course, which is venue oriented channels of communication. Venue oriented channels of communication. We excuse me, oftentimes refer to it as VOCM. That is the abbreviation. Venue oriented channels of communication. When you hear that word, what comes to your mind? Well, probably you know the meaning of venue, you know the meaning of communication, you know the meaning of media, and even to some extent you may know the meaning of oriented. But what is the meaning of the compound word combined together? We'll learn that in this unit. Then we'll talk about the features of venue-oriented communication media, and we'll give examples of that venue-oriented media. Now, as a form of introduction to this wonderful unit, this unit focuses on venue-oriented communication in African communication. Venue provides a meeting place for exchange of information in African countries. Hence, it is worthy of examination. This is now a type of communication that takes place in a hosted place, like there's a venue. For instance, you probably want to host maybe a party. There will definitely be a venue where that party will hold. So when someone is interested in coming to the party, all the person needs from you is the venue where the party will take place. And then the person will be able to come and partake in whatever you are doing in the party. So you will soon learn that the main idea of venue-oriented communication is venue. The appearance of venue in that concept is what makes the difference. I don't know why is it that the population is so poor tonight. People catching cold. Is the rain still falling? Okay. At the end of this unit, you should be able to do the following. Why do we want to read this unit? Why do we want to study venue-oriented communication in Africa? The reason is that they want us to be able to define venue-oriented communication. That's the first thing. You will know the definition. Another thing is that you'll be able to explain the main features of venue-oriented communication. What will you see happening? What will something exhibit that will make you know that this is venue-oriented communication? You will know that. Then you'll be able to outline and explain some examples of venue-oriented communications. And of course, finally, you'll be able to explain the communication functions of some venue-oriented ceremonies. Now, let's read a bit about the VOCM. But before we read about it, I think I have an icebreaker for the few of us that are online. Thank God Ogunsonya is not able to chat. It means this thing is working now, the membership. Well done. You're welcome, all of you. You people are just doing yourself. If you do not attend class, you paid for it. So I don't see the reason why you will not attend. And if you did not pay for it now, maybe I will be the one begging you, come and attend. But you paid for this class. You are throwing your treasure into the ocean. Okay. Now, let's read a bit about the definition of, or the concept, or the explanation of venue-oriented communication. There's a man called Wang in 1982, in Wang and Disanayaki in 1984. He stated that some venue-oriented communication media involve interpersonal communication, which operate at different levels in the society, but primarily at individual and small group levels. Communication takes place in village meetings, clubs, or even other local meeting places, such as community tea house and open market. Now, from these examples given here, I think the picture of venue-oriented communication is becoming clearer. When they say communication that takes place in village meetings, in clubs, in local places or local meeting, in community tea house, in open market, those kind of places, they are venues. A club is a venue where people, enjoy themselves, party. Village square, where people meet for village meeting, is a venue. So, further that, although the primary function of this media, that is venue-oriented media, and channels may not be communicative, together they interact with one another to form a network which constitute an environment of people. In most rural areas in the third world, this might account for why venue-oriented communication is referred to in some literature as unstructured channels. Unstructured channels. I hope. Oh, okay. While you guys are trying to attempt that question, please give me 2 minutes. Let me quickly get something done. Just 2 minutes. I will join you guys. Okay, sorry for that short break. I think we are good to go now. So, in essence, what are we saying? What are we saying? You said that okay, let me try to talk more. I hope my network is still good. Okay. Mm. Now, what they're trying to say is that we have many places and activities in rural communities. You know what they call rural communities, like all those villages, the outskirts of a town. They are different from the urban areas. Like those of you living in cities, you are living in the urban area. The rural, less populated, and somehow local. Now, we have so many places in those type of environment, like in those places that we call rural, like in the villages or rural communities, so to say, that they are those places were not originally created for communication. Like the main reason why they were created is not for communication. Like take for example the tea house, the community tea house where people go to get tea, you know, to drink tea. Or take for instance the market. The original purpose of market was to go and buy and sell, but communication takes place in the market. So what they are trying to say there by saying that it is an unstructured channel. It was not originally structured for communication. However, communication is taking place there. So that is the meaning of unstructured channel. So we have, for example, now in the village market, August is trying to say that originally, but communication is still taking place there. So we call them unstructured channels. That is why venue-oriented communications or communication is referred to as structured channel. Now, what are the main features of venue-oriented communication? But before we go into main feature, definition of venue-oriented communication now, let me ask us that simple question. Do you know oriented communication now? Why do we have very low attendance tonight? Just 10 people online. Why is that so? Where are they? What are they doing? Our class captain seems to be here tonight. That's funny. All the class captain not here. Okay, so I've asked us a question. Don't forget that the first objective of reading this unit is to know the definition, the meaning of venue-oriented communication media. Now we've read that part that talks about the definition. So I want to put it to you now that what is the meaning of venue-oriented uh, communication media? Hmm? Yes, I'm waiting for you guys. You must contribute to. If not, we'll just be looking at each other like this, and our time is going. Okay, somebody said it might be okay, that might be network. Well, Nigeria is really enjoying some rainfall today. So it's possible the network is bad for you. But I've asked a question that the first objective of reading this unit is for us to be able to define venue-oriented communication media. And we have done that part. So I'm asking now that since we are done reading that part, can you define venue-oriented communication media now? It's right there before you. I've not removed it from your screen. the part that talked about the definition, the meaning of venue-oriented media, oriented communication media. So what is it? Well, without wasting our time, let me just go straight. We have seen clearly from this part that we just finished reading that venue-oriented communication media are those places where people naturally communicate, but originally they were not created for communication. Venue-oriented communication media are those places where people naturally communicate. People feel naturally the need to communicate, the need to communicate. But the main purpose of those places, for creating those places, is not meant for communication. So that is what we call venue-oriented communication media. So the next thing we'll talk about is, since we already understand that value-oriented communication media are places where people communicate naturally, they like people gather and interact, they allow flow of information, exchange of information, but primarily those places were not created for communication. So let's look at features of such places, the type of places that qualifies for what we just finished defining. The main feature of venue-oriented communication is that it is unstructured. Please note this. This is TMA question. You know, I solve TMA every semester, so I tell you straight. This is TMA question. It's likely you see meet it this semester. The main feature of, okay, thank you, Francis. Francis says venue-oriented communication media can be defined as an interpersonal communication which operate at different level in the society. Okay, you tried, you made an attempt, and that is good. Now, the main feature of venue-oriented communication is that it is unstructured. It is unstructured. So what does it mean? That unstructured communication is not organized or orchestrated, but spontaneous and informal. It is not like you are prepared to give a speech when you go to the market and you saw Mama Ngozi. And Mama Ngozi suddenly say, good afternoon, my sister. How are you? How was your night? Did you hear about? Now communication starts. You start gossiping for ladies. You start gossiping there. It's not like you are prepared from house. You have structured yourself that, okay, when I get to the market, I want to deliver this speech to Mama Ngozi. You don't even know that you will meet Mama Ngozi at the market. But you got to the market and spontaneously the communication started because Mama Ngozi saw you and said, my sister, good afternoon. How are you? It's been a long time. How are your children? Blah, 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 blah. Before you know that, did you hear that Mama Chidera has given birth? I said, oh, when did that happen? Oh, so they did not tell you. You see what we used to say now? We're in the same community and they'll be hiding things from some people that you see now. You did not plan it, though. It is not structured. It wasn't planned. It wasn't like orchestrated. When we say something is orchestrated, it was well planned. You have it in mind. You planned it before it happened. But this one is spontaneous. It just happened. You go to a club now and you are just there to flex, to enjoy yourself. And then somebody came and brought a business idea. Before you know, communication started. You went to just the village square to do something. And then you saw one chief. And then one thing led to the other, you started talking. That is what we are saying. It is not planned. It's something that just happened spontaneously. So the main feature that we can figure out of this type of communication is that they are unstructured. They are not planned. They were not premeditated. It just happened. It just happened. The gossip just happened. The gist just happened. So some indigenous organizations provide many opportunities for such unstructured communication before, during, and after meetings and other activities. And other activities. Please, if people should pardon me, I reply to this on my call. It's an urgent one. So now, sorry, what they are trying to say here is that when we are talking about that kind of unstructured communication, it happens mostly in villages before village meetings. Okay, for instance, now in Azianka's village, there is an announcement that everybody should gather at the uh, is it town square or village square? What did they call it? By 7 a.m. And lateness is not tolerated because the king will be on seat by 7. So people have been there by 6:30. You see all those people that came there by 6:30, they will not just sit down there muted. They will be discussing, even discuss topics that were never imagined for that occasion. They will discuss it there. Why? They are waiting for the event to start. So as a result of that, they begin to gist, they begin to talk. So different communication, different topics start coming up. Then even during the meeting, while the king is passing out his own verdict or the information he wants to pass, you still see people chatting that that king, his own is too much. Jare. His father was not even his father did not do up to this. You see children of nowadays now he became king. You see unpremeditated communication. It just happens spontaneous based on momentum, what is happening at the moment. Then even after such meetings, you find out that people still communicate. So they will not start saying, how was the meeting? Oh, if I had known that that is rubbish they want to say, I will not come. I will not waste my time. And I left this thing at home. In fact, I was supposed to prepare something for my husband now. He'll be waiting for me. You see, all those kind of things, they were not premeditated. It does happen. So, according to Molana in 1983, it is better illustrated by some examples of informal networks. Unstructured channels in indigenous communication occur in many other settings. Talk at home, well, like well now in the village well. Some villages have only one well, like Elizabeth village now. Upo Elizabeth village. I heard that there's only one well that is there. So everybody goes to the well to fetch water. And then unstructured communication takes place. When we have river on the road, in the tea house, at coffee shop, in a chef's house, market, beer parlor. In fact, the most amazing example is beer parlor. For those of you that used to go to enjoy yourself in the beer parlor, you understand what you are saying. They will discuss Ronaldo and Messi. They will discuss the economy. They will discuss the rise in dollar and the fall in naira. All those things were not premeditated. It's not like from their houses they premeditated that when I get to the beer parlor today, this is what it just happens spontaneously. And wherever else people meet and talk. So all these examples were stated by Molana in 1983. Now we're going to the next thing in this unit. The next thing in this unit is that venue-oriented communication media, we want to look at examples. So far, so good, guys. We have talked about the meaning of venue-oriented venue-oriented communication media, which we say that it is, venue-oriented communication media are places or locations where people naturally gather and interact, allowing information to be exchanged, even though those places are not primarily created for communication. Places where people feel naturally inclined to communicate, even though those places were not created. Their primary aim, the primary aim of creating those places was not for communication. So that is the meaning of venue-oriented communication media. We've done that. Then secondly, we move to fixtures. What are the things that we can see that will show that this thing or this place is a venue-oriented communication media. In a nutshell, we've carved every feature into one single word. One thing or the main feature you will notice is that in venue-oriented communication media, the system of communication there is unstructured. Unstructured. That is what we have talked about so far. The next thing we are talking about in this unit is to talk about examples. Now that I know what venue-oriented uh, communication media is, I know the picture, what I will see that will make me know that this place is a venue-oriented communication media. Then I should be able to cite examples of that venue-oriented communication media. Now, examples, we have market. The marketplace, according to Hodder 1964 in Uguaja 1980, they defined the market as an institutionalized activity occurring at a definite place and involving the meeting of people there at a particular time. So Hodder and Uguaja in 1980 and 1964 defined the market. They defined the market as an institutionalized activity occurring at a definite place and involving meeting of people there at a particular time. It's very important you know what was defined thus. That definition belongs to what that market funny definition for it. Now, it is an unauthorized public center for buyers and sellers of commodities to meet. This definition may really represent today's market as people buy and sell on the internet and through telephone, post office, and career companies. Besides, it is not goods that are bought and sold in the market, but also services. Again, Unweli in 1983 described that market as a network of, sorry, described, okay, yes, I'm correct, that market as a network of informal communication media. Well, he defined market as a network of informal communication media. In essence, what you just need to know here is that one example of venue-oriented media is very simple. One example is the market. In Nigeria, the operational days of market vary from place. While some are open every day of the week, participants are mostly residents of that community. And the kinds of information that are common in such markets are mainly local information about what is going on in the town and gossip about current happenings or scandals. Others have a circle which may range from 3 days to 7 days. Participants are residents and non-residents of that community, depending on the part of the country. I don't think any one of you here will have an issue with what we are talking about. Market is what all of us here we are used to, especially ladies. You go to market time to time. In fact, some of you know all the market days that are in your community, in your village there where you are living. You know all the market days. You know the one that is 5 days. You know the one that is 3 days. You cram everything. You know it. Why? Because you always have something to buy in the market. Those are ladies for you. So the first example of venue-oriented communication media we have is the market. Now, what is the communication function of the market? Since we say that communication takes place in the market, what is the communication function of the market? In African societies, the marketplace is an effective informal channel of information dissemination. In African societies, the marketplace is an effective informal channel of information dissemination. Now, that is what the market is exactly. Informal discussions takes place in the market a whole lot. Gossip, chatters, discussion, gist, and so on. Now, unlike the town crier or folklore, the market generates soft news. This question is in TMA. You can't even run from it. You answer it. If you do your TMA yourself this semester, you will see it there. It's a TMA question that the market generates dash news. Is it hard news or soft news? You see, those town crier or folklore that they mentioned, their own is hard news. Once you start hearing go gong go gong go gong 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 gong, that's the town crier, like in Yoruba play, you say kere o kere o kere o, you already know that something strong has happened. So them, they carry hard news. All those town criers, folklore, and the rest of them, they carry hard news. Because once people start hearing that gong, doing go 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 go, you already know that we don't know. In fact, you see people in a hurry, they want to know, what has happened again? Oh, what has happened again? Now, that one is hard news. But you see in the market, they will gossip about how Fatima and Sadiq proposed to each other, but they did not later marry each other because of one issue that happened. They will talk about how Francis was supposed to go to Canada last year, and then his younger brother did not allow him to go. Then they will talk about the fuel price that is rising. All those ones are just soft news, gossip, unnecessary, like, just gist, gossip, and the rest. So those ones, we regard them as soft news. They are not hard news that you hear that will shock you, or that your mind will be up once you start hearing gbogbo 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 kere o kere o. So that is the thing. Now, so the marketplace is for soft news. I intentionally dwelt on that place because it's a question in your TMA. You should know now that markets generate soft news, not hard news. It is town crier and folklore that generates hard news. Now, the only hard news generated internally by the market itself is the trade statistics and price index of that particular market. The neighboring market and the largest market nearest to the reference village or town. So the trade statistics and price indices are outside the competence of the town crier. However, because of the information disseminated there have low accuracy, and I know what you understand what they're trying to say here. Because most of the things being said or being discussed in the market is just rumor. Okay, like Mama Fatima, that Francis was supposed to travel last year to Canada, but his younger brother did not allow him to travel. It's not that Mama Ngozi was there. She did not know the exact thing that happened. No. It's just rumor, because she had somebody said that was what happened. So she now wants to tell Mama Fatima. So Mama Fatima, something that doesn't concern Mama Fatima. Now, most of the information carried around that circulates in the market, they are not accurate. They have low accuracy and low credibility. So when they ask you in the exam that news or information disseminated in the dash have low accuracy and credibility, that is disseminated in the market. It is in the market that you have low credibility and low accuracy for the information being passed around. To test ourselves. So let's try to do that while we continue our reading. So the most important information received in the market is often verified for authenticity by the recipient before use. So you can't just go to the market and hear one news now and then you carry it about as though it's accurate. You must check for the accuracy before you carry such news around. So the market medium only carries hard news that requires no verification when the town crier appears in the market to make announcement. You already know that it is town crier or folklore that carry hard news. So if even though we say the marketplace is for soft news, if the town crier should come to the market to pass information, since he is a carrier of hard news, that means that the hard news will happen in the market. Now, this is because those announcements are considered official. Similarly, information transferred from one market to another are like town crier or based authority based if accurately transferred, and are also often not verified by recipient. Now, this Woodnelly in 1983 says that divergence with the view of Dope in 1966. Dope says that the kind of communication heard in the market cannot be predicted because here the audience and the communicators represent many communities, and especially at large market, many different societies. Again, in looking at the communication function of the market in Africa communication, Omu in 1978 stated that news circulates with great rapidity through the various processes of trading. News circulates with great rapidity through various processes of trading. So I have another icebreaker. You guys will shift your CIT 104 to another day. I have a class with your juniors tonight by 10. Now, most communities had markets which were not only centers of trade but also a principal means of communication, information, and recreation. They provided a most convenient forum to meet friends and kinsmen and exchange news and gossip while bringing together large numbers of sellers, buyers, and visitors, some from distant places. All these things we are reading, they are just nothing you need to cram. These are things you know about the market. The market is just something every one of us can relate to. It's not one knowledge that is new to you that you say you don't know what a market is or what they do in the market. So they create an atmosphere of festivity and entertainment in which gossips and exchange of information flourished. Now, some markets were also terminal points of trade routes connecting different parts of one area with others. With foreign lands and civilizations. Now, the caravans which plied this route helped the helps to distribute information. They gathered and relayed news as they passed from place to place, communicating with fellow traders and collecting information on resources and prospect of trade. We are still talking about the marketplace. You can see how long they deliberated on the market in this course. And we are just at the first example, marketplace. Just the first example of venue-oriented communication media we are discussing tonight is the market. And that is all we have been talking about since. We are describing the market, talking about how the communication takes place in the market, the types of communication that takes place in the market, by whom it takes place, the nature of communication that takes place in the market, and the structure of communication that takes place in the market. That is why you see that the story is very long. They are discussing so many things about the market. So, this might account for why Ugwaja in 1979 in a study described the village market square, as a powerful integrated force, an important news interchange of gossip center, a place of ceremonials and parades, full stop. Ugbajas in 1979 positioned it somewhat at convergence with Apan's 1977. And Apan in 1977 says that in marketplace communication, the traders are the news bearer and the market is the final phase of funerals. the heat of traditional dances and plays. There are a lot of merriment and the rest of them that happens in the market. A lot of things. So when different people view the market and they look at the market, they will have different opinions, different things to say. That is why we're having different opinions here, like that of Apans, Ugwaja, Omu, and the rest of them. Everybody talking about the market in the way they are able to view it. I think we are almost done with the market. This is the last paragraph under the example of the market. Now, let's take the last paragraph and see. Markets that have circles which range from 3 to 7 days attract people other than residents. This is not something they even need to tell you. You know that if a market now is a market that is being, those of you that are very aligned to the village, you know this thing very, in fact, you are in the best position to teach us this, because you know that village markets that are, in circles, like that holds like maybe 3 days or 5 days or 7 days. It's not only people that live in that community or in that village that will patronize that market. People from other communities, you hear, they will say, today is Omu Markets Days. Oh, so you see different people from different surrounding villages coming to that market on that day because it's that market day. So that's what they're trying to say here, that it attracts people from other regions to come. Now, information is made available by buyers and sellers who have come from other communities about current happenings in their own communities. That is why you see Mama Ngozi, who did not go to maybe Asaba for the past 1 month, but because she went to Omu Markets Day today, and her friend who is selling garri from Asaba came to the market and discussed everything that was happening in Asaba with her, she will be informed about the happenings in Asaba without going to Asaba. Why? Because of a market meeting with someone that came from there. So that is what. Now, they in turn go away with information about events in the community where the market is taking place. It's an exchange. They come with information about their own community, then they also go with information about your own community. It is therefore not uncommon to see people waiting patiently for the market day to clarify rumors or other types of news about happenings in the communities around them. So for instance now, if somebody came from Asaba last night and told the community here that, if you see what happened at no, in fact, no our feet. The thing reach my ankle, or sorry, maybe it reach my knee itself, or even reach my head. Now, people will be wondering, did this thing really happen? Market day is in 2 days, and people from that news, if it is true or not. That's what they are trying to say here. Now, news range from politics, social events, traditional festivals, and so on. Now, people are interested in all these kinds of news mainly because they want to know among enhance their participation in the next market days. Yes, scheduled to take place in such towns or villages. In addition to constant anticipation of increase in the price of goods in the next market days. Now, what they are trying to say is that, and this one is what we all know, we can relate to it. If, for instance, now they say that uh, probably you are living in this town, and then the next town is you like going to the market because the market is a big one, and everything you want to buy there. And so you had the news that maybe uh, let's say there is a very big trailer on the road that fell on the road, and then it's caused traffic and people are so if you plan going to the market in 2 days time, you want to know, you'll be curious enough to know what is the status of that trailer that fell on the road, in order for you to plan your own journey, to know if it's going to really affect you too, if probably people would have increased the price of goods because of that occurrence, or maybe they say there is flood in that community. I know that when flood happens, a lot of things will be damaged. So maybe the remaining fruit that the farmers are able to bring to the market, they will like to increase the money. So you need to know all those news about surrounding villages in order for you to be able to ascertain your own fate on your next visit to that village. this is all about the market as an example of venue-oriented communication media. Tonight, we have done justice to few things. We've talked about the meaning of venue-oriented communication media, which I would like to remind you. What is venue-oriented communication media? Those are places or locations where people naturally gather and interact, allowing information to be exchanged, even though the primary purpose of those places is not communication. Then we talked about the features of venue-oriented communication media, and we said that the main feature is that they are unstructured. They are unstructured. That is the main feature. And then we talked about examples of venue-oriented communication media, VOCM. And the only example we're able to look at tonight is the market. And of course, we've defined the market and we've looked at several examples of what the market or type of communication that takes place in the market, the kind of people you meet in the market, the nature of communication that takes place in the market, soft news. Soft news takes place in the market, and so on and so forth. So in our next class, we continue our reading by going to social gathering as an example of venue-oriented communication media. Social gathering like organized and spontaneous. So the rest of them, they are just short. It's only the market that seems to take a whole lot of time. In the next class, I'm sure we'll finish this unit and move to another unit. I should be able to set some of your assignments tomorrow. Today was so hectic. I've been too busy today. I was unable to set any assignment. But keep checking that your assignment portal. You keep seeing new courses soon. Tomorrow I'll work on some, so you may practice. Tonight we are not taking Site 104. We'll move it to maybe tomorrow or any other day you're having one course, because I have another class starting very soon with your juniors. So do enjoy the rest of your evening and stay safe. You people should drink hot tea. This weather is too weathery.